She snapped a photo of the cologne bottle and filed it away in the folder named Paul in her phone. Then she replaced the bottle where she found it. The lounge was stuffy, and the bitter smell of the coffee dregs left in a mug on the mantelpiece made Annie feel sick. The wine she'd drunk earlier roiled and burned in her stomach. She crossed to the drawn curtains and forced a window open, and the wind shook the fabric around her. It brought the musty smell of damp leaves and sodden earth, and was that the faintest tang of brine and the insistent cawing of seagulls? Among the noise, the querulous voice of a young girl rose from below. Pools of light from the car park blackened the shadows, and whoever was speaking remained out of sight. Annie pulled her head in quickly, conscious that she would be silhouetted in the window. She returned to the mantelpiece. Annie imagined Paul checking his tie there, the blue one embroidered with the tiny green birds that he was wearing today, and adjusting the knot carefully. He must have been in a great hurry that morning to leave his dirty mug there. She took it to the kitchenette and made herself fresh coffee, sipping it while it was scalding, and checked her phone. Jenna was still live tweeting from the bar, image after image of smiling people enjoying themselves. Paul was in almost every picture, his face flushed with the effort of working the room. There was an hour at the very least before he could possibly get home. Annie studied the photos. Did she detect a hint of loneliness in his expression? His dark hair, that he habitually pushed back with an easy sweep of his hands, fell untended across his eyes. It surely concealed the real Paul, the one Annie was convinced was in there, from the world. She wanted to reach out and take his sadness away. She drained the last of the coffee and replaced the dirty cup on the mantelpiece exactly where she'd found it. Beside the cup was an invitation to a wedding, all but hidden behind an old carriage clock. It was addressed to Paul and partner. Annie rolled the word partner around her mouth. It felt too businesslike, too matter-of-fact. She picked it up and turned it over, the card solid and confident in her hands. On the reverse was a lovebird printed in gilt that glinted as she moved it under the light. She propped it up carefully beside the clock, and then saw the sandstone figure of a child that she'd given Paul in the Secret Santa. It lay on its side next to a paperweight engraved with the firm's logo and a dusty tennis trophy. Annie set the little figure upright. The smooth texture of it was warm on her skin, and she picked it up, cradling its soothing weight in the palm of her hand. She'd watched Paul unwrap it at the Christmas lunch and place it on the table among the jokey baubles and festive chocolates, and, just for a second, he'd caught her eye. In that moment, she'd felt an understanding pass between them. Annie held the little figurine in her fist as she climbed under Paul's duvet, enjoying the way his smell mingled with the slightly floral scent of laundry powder. She placed the little stone figure on the pillow next to her and stared at its round features, the knees drawn up to its wide face and the arms circled around them, until the whole thing swam out of focus. She'd found it in a charity shop, a foundling, and it tugged at some long-buried part of her that was hopeful and expectant. The caffeine bubbled through her veins now, and she pulled open the drawer in his bedside cabinet. It was a whole treasure trove of Paul. Old letters, certificates, and photographs. Annie found it charming and devastating. Such whimsical collections are not for people who need to pack up and move on quickly. She flipped through until she found a picture of the team at that summer's sale conference. She'd been seated beside Paul at the dinner, and though they'd hardly spoken, Annie had